activist, educator, theatre practitioner, but Thokozani Ndaba doesn't like to be put in a box. As the founder of Ntethelelo Foundation, she believes in the power of self-love and respect in building communities. All that talk about self-love and self-respect and building communities might sound very warm and fuzzy, but the reality on the ground and with the type of work that you do, Thokozani, it's very, very tough. I mean, you are working in Alex with young school-age learners, young women who've been through harrowing circumstances. Well, what does life look like for them, like on a daily basis?
It's really tough out there, more especially when you're working with the marginalized and the neglected community. It's been very hard during COVID and the lockdown. For example, when I tell the young women I work with to say that you need to stay indoors, and they're like, Thokozani, there's not even space to wash dishes inside. I have to wash dishes outside. I have to go fetch water. I have to use the toilet, and you have to use the same bucket with your mom and your dad because the toilets are far from the shack. So doing this work and trying then to help and give information about COVID that is around their living situation, because if you're going to talk about isolation and forget that other people cannot isolate and forget that other people don't have access to the things that you're mentioning, to say you have to wash your hands so many times a day. I don't have water. This water is for me to drink. The unlucky thing that happened is that I contracted COVID during the lockdown because obviously the nature of my work is going into the communities, making sure that the young women have their basic needs and necessities. But now during the day, when there's no school happening and the program cannot run because I was sick and I had COVID, where are they? The only thing that is there is tavern. It's older men preying on them because they need food, they need whatever at home. So these men use their vulnerability.
And this is why you contracted COVID, because your life didn't go into lockdown. You didn't stop. The same issues that you're describing made lockdown impossible for these young girls and made your presence in that community even more necessary and made you more vulnerable because they are vulnerable. How do you, I mean, you have a master's degree in applied theater, you are brilliant. I want you to describe how applied theater and creative techniques, the arts, helps the work that you do with these young ladies.
My mother was a factory worker. So my mother was always Kosatu and take me to the marches and the NUMSA. So human rights activism is not something I learned. It was born in me, you know. And I knew that fighting for your rights, not just for your rights, for other people's rights is important, you know, but you have to start with self, you know, and know what is it that you're fighting for as yourself, and then you can look at somebody else. So coming from that background, I found theater at a very young age because I used theater as a refuge, you know. My first sexual experience was rape. As a survivor, I know that I don't want any other 12-year-old to go through what I went through. How can I contribute into making a difference? Because if I had a Thokozani in my life, probably there are things that I would have been able to talk about and share that I couldn't share with my mother. So I found theater as a refuge, and I know how it protected me. I use it as a shield because theater, it takes you to fantasy and back into reality at the same time. So you're able to share your stories and share your journey without feeling like exposed. It's in your own terms.
You've got a character, you know, you've got an imagination,
and
you've got language.
Into a role and you can de-role, you know.
There are people who are alive who wouldn't be alive because you exist. And that makes you incredible.
In this world, we all have a purpose. We all have in one way or the other. Sometimes we don't even see it, that we're doing it, but just showing some kindness and some love. I always say that my gospel is kindness and my religion is love. And you know, from the first time we met, and that's what I continue
and it's been consistent
to give. And it's healing, because all we need as human beings is being loved and being seen. There's no other healing you can give.
My gospel is kindness and my religion is love. Mic drop. That's how we end the series. Thank you.